Hi everybody, Raj here from First Solutions. When your back is against the wall, FirstTrackit.com can really come to your rescue. Without too much of introduction, I'm going to jump right into the topic with a real life example. I'm going to replace the names of the companies with letters to quote unquote protect the innocent. So let's jump in. So there is this company in the West Coast, and we're going to call it Company I. This company gets its orders from a company called C, which is also in the West Coast. Company C's end customer is company C1, also in the West Coast. Now you'll have to follow this very closely so you can understand what is happening in the real world. So company C1 orders some items from company C in order to keep the lines going. Company C, in the process of supplying those items to company C1, has to buy some components from company I. Okay? Now company I makes those subcomponents, but it has to send it out to a company S, which is in the East Coast. Okay? So at one point, company C1 had enough product to keep its lines going till Thursday of the following week. Well, guess what happens? Suddenly, they find that their main line went down and they started operating on their backup line, which would have run only till Monday. So Thursday is here. That's what they were going to do, their planned changeover. But Thursday could not happen because the line went down, and the backup line would allow them to go only till Monday. Which means they needed these products that company C was going to supply them by Monday morning. That's the deadline. Monday morning, they need that stuff to keep their lines back up in operation. Well, to accomplish that Monday delivery, everything is happening by next day air. There is no loss of time in transit. So everything gets shipped back and forth by next day air. Company C has to ship those goods on Saturday, latest by Saturday. So by Monday morning, they will end up getting their goods in the hands of C1. In order to ship it on Saturday, okay, company C has to have its crew working on Saturday to make that shipment on Saturday so that C1 can get it Monday. Now company C has a rule that if you're going to call people to come and work on a Saturday, you have to give them notice. You have to give them notice by Thursday, because you cannot call people on Friday and say, by the way, you're working tomorrow. They had some problems in the past, and so they made a company-wide rule that if you are going to have people come and work on a Saturday, then you have to tell those employees by Thursday evening that they are expected to work that Saturday. Well, guess what happens? So by Thursday evening, company C needs to know if company I is going to ship the goods so they can get it on Friday. At the very latest, Saturday morning. By Friday is what they want. So they can do their whatever they have to do. So Thursday at 2:30 p.m. C contacts I by email, by phone call, whatever. So I reacts and says, oh my God, this is a problem. So they in turn contact S, because remember, S is the one that has to supply back the processed, whatever processing they did, back to I, so that I can ship to C, C can do its thing and ship to C1. So Thursday around 2:30 p.m. this contact happened. By about 3 o'clock on Thursday, p.m. not a.m., Thursday, I contacts S. Well, guess what? I is in the West Coast, S is in the East Coast. By 3 p.m. West Coast time, this is already 6 p.m. in the East Coast and people have gone home. They call, they email, no answer. Well, because they could not report back to C by Thursday evening, C could not get its people scheduled to work on Saturday, which means they will definitely miss the Monday requirement. So S that comes back the next day, which is Friday at 8 a.m., the first thing they do is they call I. But when it is 8 a.m., it is only 5 a.m. Nobody is at work in the West Coast. So they wait. By about 11 o'clock, they call I and they say, we shipped the goods yesterday by next day air. We were a day sooner in our delivery cycle. So you're going to get those goods Friday anyway. Now, they call C and C says, it's too late, man. I can't tell my people to come and work on a Saturday. It's against the policy. I can't do it. Which means they're going to miss the delivery to C1. Even though the key point is, even though S was ahead of schedule, he was ahead of schedule, remember, he was ahead of schedule by a day, and yet the supply chain had a hiccup and C1's line did go down Monday. Lots of money was lost. Lots of time was lost. Now, remember, had S subscribed to FirstTrackit.com, as soon as 3 p.m. Thursday hit here, I could have simply gone into that mobile app and found that, hey, these guys already shipped the goods. He immediately contacts C and says, yeah, the goods have been shipped. This is the tracking number. You're good to go. Get your people scheduled for Saturday. We can meet Monday's delivery requirement. And everybody would have come out smelling like a bunch of roses. Instead, because now C's line had to shut down, he was upset with the next person down the chain, who was in turn upset with the next person down the chain, and so on. And he told them, you guys are all becoming irrelevant to my operation. So get FirstTrackit, get the platform, and you can become heroes. Even if this happened the other way, meaning had there been a delay, he would have known ahead of time that there is going to be a delay. you know. So that's the moral of the story, is that in a real life situation, this can happen in business, and you want to come out smelling like a bunch of roses and not become irrelevant.